What's up, everybody? Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Sneaker History Podcast. Today's random question from my boys
Oh
here
no.
is how often do you think about Busta Rhymes? Once a week, once a day, once a month? How often does Busta cross your mind?
More than a Roman Empire, I'd say that much. So knew you were going with that.
The best answer I could have asked for.
I'm so lost, but I will say this. I think Busta Rhymes growing up, for a kid that was not allowed to buy parental explicit CDs and whose initial exposure to hip hop was through Nickelodeon, there was a surprisingly large dose of Busta Rhymes. I feel like every Nickelodeon show, whether it was a movie, whether it was the actual television, had like a Busta Rhymes cameo, and I was like, what a wholesome rapper. And then you start listening to
You're like,
Where You Want the Hands So the Eyes Can See, and really it should be Put Your Hands Where My Ears Can't Hear. But I'm always going to be a Busta Bus fan, and I think for me the most recent culmination of Busta splaining, if you will, or Busta watching was Trevor Noah ran up on him during a Grammy interview and was just
oh, cool.
reciting different flip mode songs from his mind, and he was taken back, and he in this case being Busta Rhymes. So yeah, I'm always there for Busta Bus.
That's awesome. I need to see that because I can just imagine Trevor Noah just going off in like Busta bars. Like I watch. I'll bite him.
Speaking of Busta Rhymes, Mike just gave you a $1 billion idea. Brilliant. It's such a brilliant and $1 billion idea. Ice cream bars that are endorsed by Busta Rhymes called Busta Bars.
Busta Bars. I
Busta
saw
Rhymes.
him
Hey,
2 weeks
cameo.
ago about, and he was really good live. Not every artist can continue to keep the energy up and to continue to be what you think he is, and Busta definitely is that guy in a positive way.
I was gonna ask, like, to me, he would strike me as a rapper that doesn't age well because of how high intensity and high energy he was as a young man. But it's refreshing to hear that he's still got it.
He has it for sure. I don't know if it's like Ghost energy drinks or Red Bull, or he has the energy.
It's
We're
the
gonna have the
cycle
energy
steroids he's
today.
on.
Mike has the energy. Rohit has the energy. Sonny has the energy. It's gonna
Hey,
be a good day.
look at it.
We're actually going to be talking. She's excited to talk about debut and returning just new signature shoes. She is so excited for some sneakers.
Dude,
And
next
so are
generation
we.
of sneaker history podcast. Take it over.
This
If
is
you're
like
only listening, you're missing the cute baby on said camera feed. So your loss. Rohit, do you two want to start us off with rockin' and
absolutely.
coppin'?
So Sani is one. If she is one thing, it's a showman. And because she knew that her uncle Mike was going to be on this episode, she had instructed me that my rocking
Oh
and
no.
copping should be a theme. So we got Uncle Mike's favorite new player, Victor Wembanyama.
So much letters on
And
it.
I don't know who sent me these, but thank you. I have a pair of the new. They're called the GT Hustle 2s in the Teleria colorway.
Ooh. Those are
So
clean.
these
Those are
are
nice.
very. So Sani wants her Uncle Mike to know that she is ready to root alongside him and Aunt Brittany and the kids for Big Vic's rookie maiden year. Mike,
What?
what are you rocking and copping besides what I just showed you?
Clearly, I'm just wearing Spurs everything all the time. That's just how I live my life. No one ever said that, by the way. What I'm rocking is Reebok Club C Bulk. It's like the old skate shoe style shoe that was the Beams collaboration. I can never turn down a good Japanese streetwear collaboration. These are super nice, and it was kind of cool to bring out something that you haven't worn since like 2001, you know? So that was pretty cool. I like those a lot. And Coppin, he just came in the mail today. The Feds, the Roger Pros. I gotta get back on the court, and this is gonna be the thing to get me back on there. So shout out to On for sending these over. Super excited about these, by the way.
I didn't know On made tennis specific shoes. That's awesome.
Yeah, for Roger, when he signed over that deal with him, that's when he started making them. He's the first and only tennis sneaker to have right now.
Mike, through his fantastic YouTube channel, gets more shoes than anybody else I've ever seen, and it's a beautiful thing because the videos don't make themselves.
Oh, they don't.
I got the Kith 1700 New Balance in marshmallow and red. Typical of the Kith shipping, I bought the red and the white pair the same day, and the red pair hasn't even given a notification yet that they've gone. So
Oh,
materials are crazy on these. They feel really good. They run a little tight, but they're breaking in really well. That's a theme with New Balances. I'm new to the brand, new to the balance, if you will. And they
Bars.
all break in well, but they all fit kind of tight if you go true to size. But I can't see another size fitting better. Unlike the shoe I'm looking to cop, coming out in a couple weeks here, the Ultra Boost 4D Spider-Man 2s.
Yes.
They have like Spider-Man red on them, but if you've been following the game news, Venom is going to be an integral part to Spider-Man 2. So there's like Spider symbiote, Venom, blackness coming up from the 4D. Looks really cool.
Slick.
I'm a 4D fan. Not everybody likes rocking 4D underfoot, but I'm a big fan. So definitely looking to buy those.
Yeah, add me to that cop as well. But I forgot about that one, and the game as well. Just anything Spider-Man 2 related at this point.
This is how we do Mike by Spider-Man 2. Okay, so this episode though is gonna
Web shooter
kinda-
blade on that Escalade.
it's gonna be a lot. Maybe some rap references. We all keep mixing words that are two words into one fake word. And we've all done it this episode so far. And just caught myself again.
Artistic license. That's what it's called. All right, we got this.
Either that or all of us are having a stroke at the same exact time.
Which that could be it too.
I can't smell. No, I'm just kidding. This episode, though, this year, this upcoming season, seems to be one of the largest signature shoe years I've seen in a long time.
Yep.
Two reasons. Rohit, if you have that GT Cut 2,
I do.
some GT Jump, right? It's the jump one.
Hustle too.
No,
Hustle.
the Hustle is the Wembanyama shoe. I believe the Jump is the Nikola Jokic shoe.
Yeah.
Whoever that naming convention, fire them.
Well,
So
I don't know why they call it the Hustle 2, and this is the first Hustle, which is there's
it
no
makes
one.
it's the conventions are awful. So shoes like that will not be spoken about, even though that is a
Just
great shoe.
Such a sick shoe.
We're talking just signatures, and it's interesting that that shoe looks so good because
Buy
a
button
lot of
right
the
now.
league has came away or gone away from team shoes. It's all about signatures. It's all about retro protros. There's not a lot of love for just team basketball shoes. Maybe we'll do one of those episodes though.
I think it could be done. There's something
I
out
think
there
it
that
can
we
be
talk
done
about.
too. The Sabrina, we'll bring that one up because I think, Ro, if you want to start us with that shoe, because it just released. I think there are going to be a lot of NBA players wearing it,
No.
and the Stewie 2 came out so long ago. It's really not like new to this season, or I would have brought up Breonna Stewart's Pumas to keep the
Yeah.
ladies fully integrated into the episode. But Rohit, go ahead and start off with that beautiful Sabrina there. What about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of us, this is probably the most hyped in the best way imaginable shoe of the year, because I think ever since there were rumblings that Sabrina was going to get her shoe, the inevitable comparisons to Kobe were made. And to me, this is almost a Kobe 5.5 or 5.2, because that's the shoe that aesthetically it feels the most similar to. And then kind of just doing a little bit of tech specs. Thank you, Wear Testers, for kind of helping me understand what exactly is going on with this. As you guys can see, we've got a full-length React midsole with a hefty zoom unit in the forefront. And that is very evident the minute you put this shoe on and you make a cut. And what's interesting about both the shoes that Robbie mentioned, the Hustle 2, aka the Hustle 1, and the Sabrina 1, I've never seen Nike go about marketing a shoe to a player that they're calling floor-based. It's always been about the players that have the most elite athleticism or the highest speed or the most consistent jumper. So it's really nice, because if there was ever a player category that your boy in the under 45 crowd may kind of classify himself as, it's a floor-based player, which is essentially the euphemism way of saying I can't jump over a sheet of paper lying still. So
Don't this shit make my people want to jump?
Jump.
Yeah. And it does, but you're gonna have to pass the Cavassier if you think I have actually any hopes of jumping and dunking on somebody. But the thing I will mention, though, Robbie, both Sabrina and Stewie, which if we haven't made that a thing, Stewie and Sabrina, or whatever the case may be, they are going to be probably the best precursor to the actual NBA season because I believe the WNBA finals are about to start. And for the first time in a long time, it seems we actually get the two teams that people want to see in the finals, which is the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty. So I think if I'm a Stewie fan, if I'm a Sabrina fan, what better way to kind of see these shoes truly come to life? Because if this leads a New York franchise to a championship, they are going to be immortalized in a way that we haven't seen since what was the last New York-based championship? Was it the Yankees? Who knows?
That's what I'm
Probably
thinking.
20.
Yeah.
Rose got to go into sports. I was like, I don't know that answer. We will find that answer though. Very interesting though. The ladies' game has really come on very strong. While we're just talking about Puma, I'll go next. Breonna Stewart, Stewie 2, fantastic shoe. One Scoot Henderson is just debuted the Scoot 1. There is not a lot of information about it, but if you just look at what Scoot had been wearing, which is that Puma Nitro, the Clyde Nitro, his little
Yeah,
Scoot
that
edition.
second one, yeah.
And you look at like the MBO 3, which I'll kind of loop that shoe into the Scoot 1. Both of those shoes fall in line with one another really well. The Scoot is kind of just visually an offshoot of what LaMelo's been doing with the MBO 1, 2, and now 3. Probably going to have nitro foam in it too. A really aggressive, very much Gen Z design, the LaMelo and the Scoot 1. Really loud, vibrant, kind of tattoo-like, right? LaMelo's all tatted up. I believe Scoot has some ink also, but just very youthful. These are definitely shoes for the kids.
Sheerans. Cool. I saw pictures of that one during, I guess, all the media day stuff. They look pretty cool. I really like the Mellow shoes so far. So everything Puma's been putting out has been pretty solid. I haven't had a complaint about anything. Only one I maybe thought was on the heavy side was the J. Cole R's Dreamer. But other than that, I think everything has been pretty spot on.
Yeah,
But
and I was gonna say, Mike and Robbie, please chime in. Puma seems to be the most well versed in terms of appropriately price setting these shoes because if I'm somebody that's looking to get into the game, I feel like Puma is the perfect gateway into the culture because it's not going to hurt your wallet the same way a $200 LeBron or a 180 KD would.
Rohit, this is why
yeah,
you're my guy, because I went to go take a peek at New Balance to see if Kawhi has anything new dropping to be included in this conversation, and he doesn't. But I did see the two-way, the shoe
yeah.
that Jamal Murray wears
Mhm.
and Zach LaVine wears. That puppy's 120. And I'm like, that's a really cheap for having all of your non-Kawhi Leonard athletes wearing that shoe. Puma and New Balance both really affordable in that $100 to $120 shoe range. I have the LaMelo 1 and 2 back there, the MBO 1 and 2. The bang for your buck, you can literally feel it in the shoe. It's just as
100%.
well built as any other brand, but just substantially cheaper. The nitro
Yeah.
foam, and I'll go more into like foam versus, you know, different text in
Zoom
the
Air
Jordan
and stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
But the use of foam can really keep a price of a signature basketball shoe down. Even think Dame, I didn't really include him on this either because his like, I think it's called the explicit or no
No, extended play. So I got that one.
extended play. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll dive into that
Go
one
ahead, Mike. Talk
because
about that extended play then, and then
so
it being priced right.
well, yeah, it's priced right at 130. It is going to have Bounce Pro is what they call it. Let me make sure I wrote that. Yeah, Bounce Pro is going to be the foam. If you're noticing that a lot of Adidas, we're going to talk about a couple more of them with Trey Young and Anthony Edwards in a little while, but I've noticed that majority of the basketball shoes are actually moving away from Boost. With Dame being a prime example, it's a signature shoe, priced very nicely at 130. It's so crazy because this shoe's 130 bucks and he still has a value model, which is insane. Like he's still putting out a shoe cheaper than that, which I mean, it's for the kids, you know? That's really what it is. It's awesome that he's putting something out. But I will say that of all the new basketball shoes that Adidas is putting out, this one's probably the least exciting in my opinion. Um,
I agree.
it's not bad by any means, but it's just not when you look at the AE1 or Trey Young 3, it doesn't have that same oomph. Even the stuff that Candace Parker was wearing, that the Exhibit A or whatever it's called, still it just didn't have that same flair to it that you would think getting from Dame time. But I'm sure it performs well on court. Like Dame always comes with something because he performs well. I'm sure people they want to make sure that the people who want to emulate him can do the same.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because I think one thing that's been characteristic of this, do we call it the Jerry Lorenzo era of Adi basketball, is the designs are unique. They're striking. They may not always be a person's cup of tea, but you're going to remember them.
Yes.
And that's strange for me to hear that about the Dame. And then also because there's always levels to this shit, as a famous rapper once said, it's funny to me that Dame's signature model is 130, his takedown model is significantly cheap, because if we compare and contrast that with the proverbial and literal king of the jungle, LeBron James, his takedown model is 160, where his signature shoe is 200.
Yeah, that Dame, the discount Dame, let's call it. You can find that thing in a good way. You can find that thing for like $45-$50. I've seen it on Sneaker Steel
The
for
actual dollar Dame.
yeah, $1 Dame, which is it's fine. So I wanted to throw this in there. Breaking news: Julius Randle signed with Skechers and is wearing Skechers. I don't know if it's his signature shoe, but it's the first Skechers basketball shoe. That's probably going to be the literal, like, the discount dollar shoe. The Dame shoe is actually good. I saw Julius Randle today, and I was just like,
I saw that.
my bro,
Dude,
Kobe right now is that meme where Kobe's just looking down with the glow, just like shunning.
Dude, the money had to be dumb.
Oh, no,
it had to be a dumb
Oh,
bag
the money
for
had
him
to
to
be
do this.
stupid.
No, my Kobe meme to justify that is him and the rest of the Lakers looking at the scoreboard, which I think at the time was at a Shannon Brown dunk, and just being disgusted by it.
Yeah, but also weird. I like Julius Randle. I follow him online. He's a real big into Family guy. He's like
Okay,
a lot of people love
Yeah,
their
but-
sons. It's not weird, but he like really is like a fam, right? Like he likes his kids. I'm like fucking
Millennials.
Newsflash,
Am I right?
like their
Guys?
kids.
Millennials. No, but it's
Right.
funny as well because not only is Skechers now getting into basketball, they recently signed Harry Kane, who's probably the best British striker we've had in a long time. And it's interesting to see this brand that was always focused on value entering into these categories and these market positions that are historically associated with pricey shoes, like a football cleat or a basketball cleat.
Yeah, Keyshawn Johnson, I'm 99% sure does Skechers ads too.
Well,
It's
Snoop
it's
Dogg
interesting.
does. I mean, you gotta pay
Yeah,
Snoop,
Snoop
Dogg some
Dogg
kind of
does.
way. But-
They had the Snoop Dogg signature. That is the thing, but we're not interested in it.
Not to stray too far though, but Skechers does technical runners, like marathon runner shoes.
I know.
So, I mean, they have the technology floating around to do performance-driven things. They just would rather rip off, random Vapor Maxes and things like that.
We would just rather not. So let's kind of go snake way, because Mike, you brought up one of my favorite shoes, the Anthony Edwards 1, the
Yeah.
AE1.
Just got debuted officially last week with an event out in what was
Atlanta.
Atlanta, thank you. And I like it. I like it a lot. It's something, again, like Rohit said, in this Jerry Lorenzo age of basketball at Adidas, we're getting some very striking, very head turning models, and I think this Anthony Edwards, I think we've all been kind of watching it as we got the sneak peeks earlier this year. Full TPU cage. It is going to have the only one I think I know of right now with boost. This one's going to have boost in it. The only signature I know of with boost, aside from James Harden. But I don't have a price yet. That's the only thing I don't have. I'm assuming it's going to be around the 140 to 160 if it's going to be utilizing boost. But I'm really excited to see what they can do with the different color combinations, maybe some gradients with that TPU upper, because I feel like there's just a lot of things that can be experimented color-wise and print-wise on it.
So, Mike, the shoe's going to retail for 120, and I believe it's
Wow.
going to hit stores in December of this year.
120 for a boost shoe. That is impressive.
Good. So if we go back in time a little bit, when the Under Armour Steph Curry 1 debuted, everybody was like, that's a Hyperdunk clone, yada yada.
I bought it.
I think the AE1 is a Hyperdunk descendant, not a clone.
Okay.
Because if you look at the cut of the shoe, And the shape of it, it looks like the early 2010s Nike basketball Hyperdunk.
Wow. Okay.
Pick a year. But
Yeah.
just the way the mesh, I call it mesh because it looks like mesh. It might be harder plastic. It could be softer overlay. Who knows? But the AE ones kind of like fused Timberwolf blue
Yeah.
area. If you've seen the
Yeah.
photos of him in the jersey, black with the beautiful, only time anybody has ever said beautiful Timberwolf blue ever. But it looks so good on that shoe with just black. And I think the shape and the silhouette reminds me so much of a Hyperdunk, just fast forwarded 13 years, and it works for me.
Well,
I love it. It's maybe one of my
interesting.
favorite. It's my top 3 shoes that we will be discussing today. Is the
Hmm.
AE one.
Well, I thought it was a Harden descendant. Because I felt, look at the Harden 7, I look at the AE 1, I can see where it looks like they put side by side, like, okay, we want to take, basically put an exoskeleton on a Harden, make it lighter, and apparently make it cheaper. So, I kind of can see that same design language as well.
You know, it kind of looks like the Jordan 36 a little bit too,
36 or something.
in my opinion. I don't know.
Something
It
over
just
36.
that shoe works, man. Like, do you
It's
see
a
what I'm
good
talking
shoe.
about? The kind of, it looks meshy, but I don't
Yeah.
know if it is mesh. But
Well,
fuck,
it's TPU, is plastic on top. It's like
But-
that rubberized plastic. That's
yeah,
what
but sometimes
actually
it's
the-
soft plastic. Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah,
Like gill, like when you move your hand against it, it moves with it.
yeah, I think it's gonna be similar to, like, when you that feeling. Okay, the Jordan 5, little cage in the middle.
Yeah.
It's gonna be that kind of soft. I think.
That would be nice. I would like that. But yeah, the AE one's freaking banger. I'll go up here and we'll pass it back to Rohit. It's really quick. I wanted to talk about the Tatum one. Jordan's offerings, if you include the Jordan 38, kind of in its own area, but the young kids, the Tatum, the Luka, and the Zion, all 3 of them have different cushioning setups and different enough to where I haven't tested all of them underfoot, but I have to believe it truly has to be something for every kind of athlete. Like if you were to go to a shoe store and say, I want a basketball shoe that's from Jordan brand and I like young people, if you tried each of these 3 on, they would all feel different. You like young people. You don't want the old Michael Jordan, you don't want the Chris Paul. They don't sell the Chris Pauls anymore, but you know what I'm saying. They don't want the Russell
Yeah.
Westbrooks.
Young man tings.
Yeah.
An anticipation for all
Young
the
man
dogs.
But the Jason Tatum just has uncaged zoom. Like there's no, they don't really market the Formula 23 foam or anything on it. It just says on Nike.com, uncaged zoom. The Tatum one isn't my favorite design. It's not even like my top 10. I go back and forth about it. It's okay. But again, at 120, all these shoes are competing with each other. And it's almost like the footwear industry has found out that people like multiple brands. So it's kind of just like, what athlete do you like and what brand do you like? There's an offering for about $120 from brand X, and it's really cool in my book. There's more offerings than ever in an affordable range.
When did the Tatum 1 release? Because Luka's on shoe 2 already, seems like, and I think Zion's on 3. And
Yeah, Zion's on 3. Tatum was kind of during the NBA Finals. He started
Okay.
showing it off. Maybe no, I believe it was All-Star Weekend. Excuse me, All-Star
April
Weekend.
7th, 2023 was the first colorway of the
Yeah.
or Nike.com.
So February, March, April. So they show it off on All-Star Weekend.
Okay.
And then push it out. But I mean, it's of the 3, the Luka is my favorite, and I'll talk more about that one later. But just uncaged zoom, Jason Tatum. Those 2, you have to like those 2 things
Yeah.
to buy that shoe, and that's not a knock. I don't like the Celtics, so I'm not in the market for that shoe.
I'm not a
But,
Tatum fan, so I would never buy it.
Exactly, but if you like Jason Tatum, which a lot of people do, he is very, very likable, and you like Jordan Brand, you want to spend $120, and you just want Zoom Air, something they've been doing since
Basically, if you're not us,
96.
just go buy it. If
yeah. If you're not one of us, just go buy the Tatum one.
If you're not a hater, I mean, put it this way: if
Hey,
Jason
hey, hey.
Tatum, St. Louis native, provides an Emo's Pizza colorway, I'll put down 120 easy, just because I miss home, I miss aspects of home, and that's what it seems a lot of the Jordan colorways are. It is geared rather towards childhood nostalgia. So if I look through the entire Tatum 1 colorway, there's a shoe inspired by his favorite hometown baseball team, which I'm assuming is the Cardinals. He's got pink lemonade. He's got the barbershop. So that's kind of the mantra and the motif, if you will, of what I imagine a lot of Jordan non-flagship Jordan shoes to look like.
And what makes me laugh about that, teams have been having representation on basketball player shoes forever, right? Let's just think like Ohio State LeBrons or like
Barcelona Kobe's even.
Yeah, Barcelona Kobe's or Commander KD's. I kind of laugh because I'm like, oh, Jason Tatum likes pink lemonade and baseball and getting his hair cut. Oh, so he's fucking human. Like, really telling me a lot about the guy.
Yeah, I was going the opposite. I was like, what a boomer. He likes baseball and pink lemonade.
Who likes pink lemonade?
He's Hershey's chocolate. He's like, it's very, everybody likes Hershey's chocolate. You don't love Hershey's chocolate. It's not the best chocolate, but like a lot of people like it. And actually, while I'm here to kind of keep time moving, I'll let's do all three of those Jordan shoes. Luka has ISO plate and full length Formula 23 foam, which is Jordan's not react. And the Zion 3 has a Formula 23 plate, which is something they integrated into basketball shoes back with the LaMelo line, and normal Zoom Air. So it's either uncaged, full length Zoom and an ISO plate, or Formula 23 foam and Zoom, which kind of just tells me Nike's had basketball shoes figured out for like 30 years. And it's like, nothing wrong with that. I literally, if it is not broken, don't fix it. Like, I'm a huge fan of that saying. People change stuff all the time, just needlessly. So if you could just go foam and Zoom Air fucking 3 times or 2.5 times, like, why not? It works. It sells. You've had the tech patent for like 30 years. It costs you nothing. Let's just.
Oh yeah, it's crazy though. You see, each one of those is so different in the sense of you get two things. Pick them out. You get a plate and foam. You get a plate and air. You don't get both.
Exactly.
Or you can't.
And that's okay. But it is funny. But it really shows that Jordan Brand has a specific offering for any kind of player, any kind of foot you have. They got you covered.
Yeah, and I think it also makes sense because we've talked about this in previous episodes. They're targeting the kids. They know that Jordan may not be as relevant to a young 14-year-old and below the same way a Luka is or a Zion is. And that's kind of what I think about nowadays is, this is going to sound cruel and insensitive, but I'll go ahead and say it. Zion's for the big kids, and big kids need love too when it comes to sneakers. So why not give me the Zion shoe? Luka's kind of chunky. So like, they're doing big things for plus size ballers everywhere, and I'm here to salute it.
Well, the Jordan 38 is a great big boy shoe. That thing, the 38 and 37, I think to their detriment, were so much like the 7 and 8 with the high tops and the bells and whistles. The low top 37 did way better than the high top. I think the low top 38 is going to be the version people want at the end of the day.
But that FIBA 38 and that WNBA 38 are two of the cleanest basketball shoes I've seen.
Oh yeah, the orange joints.
Oh my gosh.
Hard.
They are so nice. I just don't want to pay $200 for them.
And that's aspirational, right? That's where something like the LeBron, which Rohit's going to talk about here. Yeah. There's the cheap 120 boys. Then there's that 200 MJ money.
And we call those the mid-level exception and the Supermax. But really, the thing about the LeBron is when I was kind of doing my research, it felt eerily similar in terms of the cushioning to the LeBron 20. And I thought it was interesting because I read that in the Wear Testers review. I'm like, that's something. And then just kind of scouring all the interwebs and the message boards, everybody had a similar opinion. So essentially, if you're looking at the LeBron 21, you're more inclined to buy it because of the change in materials in the upper. And what was interesting to me was it's a shoe that I don't know if this is subconscious or not, reminds me a lot of the Gary Payton glove. Just because of the fact that it's got this layered component to it that we haven't seen in a long time, and it's got a shroud. And dare I say, it might be the most well-known shrouded shoe given who the endorser of said shoe is.
Yeah. No, now you say that because you have the leather cover with the kind of the wire look coming off the sides, like you had what was it called, the monkey paw on the. So I can see that. I didn't think about that.
And just to kind of give you a little bit of a runway, Robbie, like when I heard the fact that there are three distinct layers, I was like, okay, tell me the three distinct layers. So obviously the first is the fully textile layer, which is covered in the second layer of flywire, which that's a term we haven't heard in a long time when it comes to Nike basketball, which is then covered with a relatively high quality leather shroud. And it's one of those things where I don't know if it's intentional or not. It's borrowing a lot from late 90s basketball because you've got that high leather shroud that I think we saw with, was it the Jordan 14 or the 15 that had the, what I like to call the comb over flap?
It did. That's an interesting and fantastic way of describing
The
that
comb
too.
over flap.
I had never really picked up on that being like leather. The LeBron 21 looks really interesting, and even, I mean, brushed suede is technically a leather, right? Nubuck is leather. This brushed.
Well, he's going different materials everywhere. Like that white pair that just released is leather, then the purple pair is going to be that suede or nubuck, whatever it is, and he
As
just
Rohit said earlier, the Aces are in the WNBA Finals. Aja Wilson had like a black and gold pair with Holy crap! Black
yeah.
and gold pair with suede on it, black suede.
A
And it's
player pair, if you will, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
yeah, these. If you guys can see them, this there's right there.
just so clean. I don't think. See, I didn't buy a LeBron 20 for the first time. I didn't buy a LeBron signature shoe for the first time ever last year. I just said I have 19 of them, or close to 19 of them. I'm good. But I think the 20 looks better than the 21. Not the 21's bad, but
No, I feel a similar way. Just something about the 21 feels clunky and lumpy, lack of a better term. And maybe it's the shroud that's highlighting and hiding at the same time, if you will, all the tech that we previously alluded to. But when I saw the 20 for the first time, it felt very sleek despite being a LeBron shoe, and those are almost oxymoronic things to say because whenever we think of LeBron, we don't think of sleek. We think of the Batmobile in the Tumbler sense.
yeah. If I'm thinking sleek, I'm thinking more of like the KD 16. That's a way more sleek looking shoe.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, and the other thing is, we'll touch on a little bit of the tech behind the KD16, but I don't know if you guys saw whether the interview took place today or previously. Somebody had asked KD, oh, hey, we really like your KD16s. And there was a level of apathy that I think a lot of the media has jumped on in terms of KD doesn't seem to appreciate this shoe. Now, I've talked to people that have played it. They said it's probably the best performance shoe Nike has dropped this year. So have you guys had any experience with the KD16 while I try to figure out where I put all that information about the tech?
I haven't. I just know it was the quietest release I've ever seen for a signature basketball shoe for those level of guys when it comes to Kobe, Kyrie. Or I'm sorry, Kobe, KD, or LeBron. I didn't even realize it would release. I just was on the Nike website one day. I saw the 15s. They're like, oh, there's a 16. I'm like, when did this even? No one's even said anything.
No, and the thing is, like, for me, I really like that New York v. New York colorway. It's not necessarily a Commander Burgundy, but that red and gold seems to work for me. And kind of looking at the cushioning, because that's been the commonality whenever we've discussed a lot of these signature shoes today, it's the full-length Zoom Air Strobel, which I believe
Yes,
we've
I
also
love
kind of
that.
seen. Yeah, we've seen that with the Kyrie line as well. And the other comparison they've made was to the aforementioned Jordan Zion line, specifically the Jordan Zion 2. So we are kind of seeing imitation being the sincerest form of flattery, as both Nike Basketball and Jordan are dipping their chocolate in each other's peanut butter, so to speak, to come up with these shoes that may feel somewhat similar but are noticeably different. And one last thing I will say about the 16 is the traction pattern on the bottom is a true work of art. If
Yeah.
you have a pair of 16s around you, just flip those sons of guns on the inside or upside down, and you'll notice literally the intricate clockwork, or so it seems, of the traction pattern down on the bottom of the shoe.
See, the KD12 was the first to introduce the Zoom Strobel,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's not broken, don't fix it. Having
I
it
feel
for
like
shoes later, I think works. I also have not tried a pair on, but of the Nike offerings of these new this season's signature shoes from Nike, the KD16 is my favorite looking of them.
it's a good looking shoe. If I can find that 50 years of hip hop color, for less than retail, I'll try them out. I mean,
KD15 is hard as hell too. I'm not gonna lie. Like I went through a KD purge. Literally, when he went to the Warriors, I sold every KD shoe I had because it bothered me. Now I just don't care anymore. I don't need those shoes. It's fine. But the 15 was the first one where I was like, "Fuck, I might get back into KD shoes." Just wearing them, you don't like collect KD shoes. I guess some people do collect KD shoes, but like,
You
you
made
want a
someone mad just
basketball
now.
shoe you just want to wear to like the grocery store regularly and like play outside. KD 16, hell yeah.
I mean, the man's Twitter bio says it all. It's like, I'm a do me, I'm a hoop, I'm a chill, and that's what the KD is born to do from a shoe perspective.
100%. Mike, what about the
Trey?
yeah the you can either go Trey, you can go
Well, I go Trey because that one was a tricky one for me because I couldn't figure out the cushioning. The Adidas website, you go to one color, it said boost. You go to another color, it says it's a composite foam. So I went to, like Rohit, to our trusted friends over at Wear Testers to get the final verdict, and apparently it is going to be just a composite foam. There's no boost in it. I guess initially it was thought to have boost that we're going to put into an initial tech specs, but they moved to a composite foam that has that typography look that Adidas had been going into with a lot of different, like their slides and some of the other shoes. But when it all said and done, I think the Trae Young 3 is the best looking of the 3 he's had so far. Very different, very eye catching, looks very technical. I like that. Like when it comes to my basketball shoes, I want it to look like something came out of a lab, and that's just what it looks like. Very, very cool looking shoe. Am I Atlanta a Trae Young fan? Not really, but I can appreciate the shoe and what he'll probably do in it this year. And if I'm not mistaken, price wise, where we at 130 again on that one.
I saw 140, but yeah.
140. Yeah, but
so
they're really
I tried the
consistent. I'll say
Trae
that.
Young on at the Adidas employee store, and that shoe rocks. It fits really good. I didn't run laps in the store,
You
but
just
just
take
like
off and just-
standing there with them and like doing the heel test and everything, like the heel bounce, 4-foot bounce, they feel good, man. It's a nice shoe.
Yeah, they look good. I don't like the green color they have floating around right now. I didn't really dive into all the colorways that are available, but I think this is one you can again. It looks nice. Looks like you said, it feels nice. I know people who aren't our age, or maybe people who are just gonna stray from it, are like, "Ugh, why are you wearing basketball shoes out?" Like you said, just chilling. But I think we all can agree we still wear basketball shoes out and about, and these shoes that we're naming off, I think, have a value that can be, worn off the court. I mean, not a Jordan 38 because that sucker is just literally a boot meant for basketball. But all these other shoes, I think, have some kind of off-court value to where you can throw them on, maybe not with jeans, but at least with sweats or shorts and go about your day because they actually have a level of comfort and a decent look to them.
Now, and speaking of decent looks, listeners, if you run into Robbie in the greater Portland area, there's nothing more he enjoys than a nice pair of denim pants with LeBron shoes. So if you guys could do that and take photos with him, that would be lovely. But it's funny you mentioned that, Mike, because I think ultimately for me, what I consider to be the golden age of modern Nike basketball, meaning anything from 2009 on, was Nike basketball, and specifically the big three of Kobe, KD, LeBron, and the ability to go off court, on court. And now I think, are we seeing a resurgence? Am I jinxing it by even saying it out loud? Like, how are you guys feeling about that? Because it definitely feels, especially with Adi kind of running the show or running the point, if you will, they're making a clear and concise effort to have something that is equally comfortable on the street as it is on the hardwood.
I don't know if it's a full return. I just know that it's. I guess I hate to say this word because just do what you want. I mean, who cares? Like I'm gonna wear my LeBrons or jeans in front of Robbie all day. But I guess it's getting acceptable again for people who care what anybody else thinks because of all these shoes. Like, I mean, even if you go to like retros, like the Adidas Crazy 8, still a super technical basketball shoe, but they're making them to where you can wear them on the street with this nice suede and nice nubuck and things like that. That recent Crazy Infinity that's come out, like they're making basketball shoes for the street again, and you can say Nike's probably doing the same. Even with that GT Hustle too, it looks just like a Telaria. I love that. Like that's one of the best like running shoes at silhouette, and you can't tell me that if you threw that on with shorts and just left the house or sweats and just left the house, somebody's gonna be like, ugh. Like that's a good looking shoe all around.
See, shorts are different. Shorts are different. I'm just kidding, but shorts are different. The jeans ability of some basketball shoes is existing. I would say it's being held more by Adidas than any other brand right now. Except, well, not gonna lie, the Scoot and the LaMelo 3 look like fucking just like shoes a 15-year-old would wear any time of the day. Like it's not really it doesn't give basketball. All the basketball elements are there, But those two shoes, and I think the Puma stuff in general, does so well because, like, I could see a fifth grader, an eighth grader, a college kid, and like an AA, like any layer. I mean, layer of youth at 34, I consider a college person youthful. I do because they got young knees still. But like you can wear those the mellows or scoots anywhere and
Yeah.
with jeans.
Yeah, and it's to your point as well. When I think of what Puma's done recently with their design language and their design silhouettes, it's lack of a better term what I imagine a basketball sneaker would look like in my favorite Nicktoon growing up. Like they're loud, they're vibrant, like you had mentioned, and it is one of those things that you may be a young at heart or you may be young in body. If you feel comfortable rocking it, go for it.
Yep.
And you're at that age as these three old men with gray hairs that are shaking their fists violently at the clouds say, yeah, go ahead and do it now, because when you get to be our age, people are going to look at you strange if you try to pair a pair of scoots with some nice 501s or 510s, because I always thought the LeBron principle with denim was specifically the skinnier your jeans, the chunkier your shoes, and I think that's what got a lot of people from the mid 2000 teens to where they are now in life, which is dads, moms, and everything in between.
That was definitely the equation you were trying to solve for. Biggest shoe with smallest pant. Mike,
like Doug
I
Funny.
think that the Dawn issue 5 is another shoe that is a very good, just I would say more sweat panter
Yeah,
than a jeaner, but Donovan Mitchell's fifth shoe, all designed by the same person too. Like the Trey, the AE, and the Dawn are all the same guy. But I think the Dawn has specifically like early 2000s Kobe vibe in the same vein of the Infinity, the crazy Infinity, right? It kind of has all of the old and all of the new in it. I believe it also has Light Strike. I could be wrong,
Yeah,
but
well, they haven't. It's not released yet, so this is one that they're still. I don't know when
hard
we're
to find
getting
the specs. But I mean,
Yeah,
from a purely visual standpoint, I think the Dawn issue 5 looks fantastic.
yeah. No, I think so too. It's very futuristic looking, very sleek. It almost has, you know, almost has a Gilbert Arenas sneaker, like the Agent Zero vibes to it, a little bit. Um, but then also, I mean, you're gonna look at the Harden Volume 8 is supposed to be coming out. They're kind of going to the same style, very sleek,
Oh,
very like almost alien like. Which again, that's what they're moving to. They want that sleeker design, that faster design. Which you go back to early like late '90s, early 2000s basketball when they were going with a lot of that. Like was it like the like the turbine, like zoom turbine, things like that. That's stuff I love. Yeah, like it's super, just different, very fast, very performance driven, and I say go for it. I mean, that's the stuff I like, but we don't have specs on either one of those just yet. We just have kind of the sneak peeks we're getting pictures of, but they'll be out, I'm sure, by All Star or by Christmas. Get the money.
So
no, go ahead,
I
Rob.
was going to say the design language of Adidas has always been more circular. So that's
Mm-hmm.
a good visual catch.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna say this: the limited offerings that we have seen at the Harden 8, sleek is not even the word. Like sleek feels too chunky of a word to describe it. That thing is so angular. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure that they would use that in geometry textbooks in the future to kind of
Just
showcase the different types of angles within a triangle. And all of this is to be said. Hey Adidas, do your boy a favor. Kobe 2 retros, come on. You're literally retroing. You're bringing out every unique, conceived, designed basketball sneaker that there's been in the past, present, and the future. Why don't you just complete the set and give us the Adidas Kobe 2 that the streets have been clamoring for?
I mean, if they keep selling out these crazy infinities, why not? I
It's
mean,
a heat check. Look,
yeah.
to me, that is the Adidas heat check. You really want to see where your weight is in terms of market share and all that? Release the Kobe 2s and see how quickly they sell out, if at all, because that to me is going to be the ultimate tipping point around the Kobe nostalgia vibe and wave.
I
So
buy it. Why
Mike,
not?
do you have a pair of crazy ones?
I don't have crazy ones. I have the crazy eights. I have crazy infinities. I don't have crazy ones yet.
So the Kobe 2 can so work because I wear my crazy ones. I looked at them when they came in the mail and I was like, nah, these are not going to work for me. That burp talk you like that. I was like, this isn't going to work for me. You put them on your feet and wear them twice. They are molded to your foot. They rock. They are warm without being hot, which is a thing. It rocks.
You're cozy. Your foot's cozy.
Your
man.
foot's cozy, man. Like
Yeah.
I would love a Kobe 2 retro.
Make basketball cozy again.
Make
again.
life cozy again. Let's end here. Rohit, so the heir apparent to Kobe. One Devin Booker has his signature shoe also. Do we have any book information? 'Cause I have a little bit if you don't.
I don't have any, but the thing that's really intriguing to me is kind of watching in real time see the public perception change of that shoe. Because I think when we all saw it, we all were reacting negatively, to say the least. And now, as you kind of get through some of the design details and the tech specs, like my favorite quality about a shoe, and this is me being a nerd and me comparing one thing I like to another thing I like, just the heel tab alone that has that feel of a book page or a book spine, I'm all in. It's a shoe for readers. So there you go. That's all. That's my technical, hard-hitting analysis. Robbie, bring us back and actually give us the cushioning tech specs of this shoe.
Yeah, so it has Cushlon 2.0, which I did not know they made a 2.0 of Cushlon. I thought they just used Cushlon for forever, so that's cool. It also has a top-loaded Zoom airbag in the heel, rigid TPU sidewalls. But to what Rohit said, a lot of people have had this shoe grow on them. I got to see it like on court because it looks like a goober shoe. If you wore it with jeans, I feel like if you wore that orange colorway with jeans, you say dead ass and you got sick of wearing Timbs. Well, I don't know. It's not the look for me.
Shout out to all our New York listeners. We still love you.
Yeah, shout out to my New York people.
It reminds me of the LeBron 6. You know how that was just a literal boot? Like, that's kind of what the book.
This is like an Air. So this.
It's a blazer.
I don't like the Air Force 25. That shoe is freaking ugly. But this is like an Air Force. It's an Air Force One. It's an Air Force One modernized a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just like we'll keep Air, but it's.
Is it a shoe? Is it a boot? I'm gonna call it a shaboot.
Right.
What up, shaboot?
So apparently the fear with the shoe, from listening to a few different people, this particular, I think it was the Soul Drop. Those guys over there. There's no containment, so the way the shoe sits, and there's a picture of Devin Booker playing in it. So it's not the outrigger, but the containment that has the Cushlon, which stops the compression of the cushion, so it makes it harder than what it actually is. But it's the shoe's not sitting inside of the midsole; it's on top, so it's rolling like the top of your foot. There's a picture of you can see D Book's foot rolling off the top as he's making a move on the court, and they like fear that powerful enough player can rip through it, and B, it can cause ankle injuries because it's not actually something to catch you for. Like LeBron's and all, like everything has these TPU cages around the top of the foot so you don't roll off. And I think that's kind of one of the fears with the D Book right now. But again, I don't have it in hand, so I couldn't tell you, they actually do have something there we just can't see.
And that's the other thing as well, is I describe it as a minimalist shoe, and I'm wondering, is this also a tipping point? Because to your point, Mike, if we have a Zion type moment where somebody explodes off the shoe, or heaven forbid somebody rolls their ankle and it's a severe injury, like, are we now going to see a shift back towards bulkier, safer shoes? Because I do think we are, in a sense, playing with fire, pardon the bad Phoenix Suns analogy, but I don't know, like, that's the thing I'm most intrigued by this shoe.
Yeah, Mike, now that you said that, I can see that it sits kind of high. I didn't see the photo you're speaking of, but when he blows his leg out, I hope he never does that.
Yeah, I was like, I hope that never happens, man.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I feel like there's just, how you're just trying to be so different that it kind of can fail you. I think that's what happened with his thought process with the shoe. Again, I haven't seen it in hand. I couldn't give you my real thought on it because I'm just looking at pictures and, hear what everyone else is saying. But I feel like it was almost like, hey, let's be this different. But I think sometimes that can lead you down a bad path. But hope not. That's just my initial thoughts.
So let me ask you guys this, because I'm also looking at the price point. Is it a $150 shoe to you? Because that's the other thing I'm slightly worried about. Because I could see this being like a 110 or a 120 shoe, but 150 seems a lot for this shoe.
That's
Where do
too
you see
much.
150? I just see it releases spring 2024 in 2 colors. I don't see it.
Kicks on Fire. Maybe, and apologies, Maybe I've been gotten by those trolls on the internet, but I don't know. Like, that's the other thing I'm really intrigued by.
That
Like, what it,
cannot
right?
be.
That can't be right. I hope it's not right, at least.
Yeah.
That's 120, 130 max.
So
Yeah.
apologies if that turns into fake news, but that's the other thing I'm trying to understand is if it's priced appropriately, I could see it become a sleeper, if not breakout hit. But if it kind of pays that Nike tax in a sense that sometimes you pay a higher quality, higher for the higher quality materials and a higher just brand image, then I'm really wondering if this is going to sit because that's what I feel if it's not priced appropriately.
Oh, I know what's going to happen with this one, though, because of the D book, all of like the Kobe that he would wear. I can almost see it writing on the wall. There's going to be an undefeated collaboration with the D book one, especially because they do have a flagship store in Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken, undefeated. So that's all I need to kind of set the fire to the shoe, which is smart. I mean, I'm not knocking it, and honestly, I don't see myself hooping in the shoe. I probably see myself wearing it more casually because of just the design. But again, I need to see it in hand. I'll order a pair if it's not stupid expensive. If it's not $150, when they come out, I'll try to order a pair to see it. But I don't see myself paying, like I said, more $130. Like after tax and shipping should be what I'm paying for this thing.
So yeah, probably 120. I like to hope, but this is a great shoe to have creep on. So if you're gonna start it at 120, 130 for the All-Star edition, 150 for the undefeated edition, right? You just keep fucking putting $20 on it, and they'll still sell. That's a lot of shoes to go through. We're at like 50 minutes of just shoes. That's most of them. We didn't go over the Clay stuff. Kyrie doesn't have his signature shoe yet, so
we've exhausted Kyrie for a while. I mean, we've had like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but we've just done a lot.
Caruso shoe. We got to put some respect on the Caruso shoe. I didn't look up the name of it.
Oh, and the Austin Reeves shoe.
And the Austin Reeves shoe. Fuck, I said Caruso. I meant Austin Reeves. I think Caruso had his own
Caruso has
shoe.
one too, though. Yeah, he has a peak or something like that.
And apologies to Giannis. I think you're the only Nike signature athlete we didn't talk about not named Paul George. But hey, you got D. Lillard with you. Hopefully that brings you a second title so you don't have to worry about 3 Yahoos talking about you not on a
Paul
sneaker.
George line is officially dead. Like
yeah, goodbye.
It died so Devin Booker's shoe could live. You can only have so many on that roster.
It had to be sacrificed or something.
But let's go out on this note. What's your one favorite shoe of all of them that we spoke about today? I'll start because mine's the AE1. So Anthony Edwards.
I hate to be a parrot and mimic you, but the AE1 is definitely my favorite of the group.
I'm going to go with the Sabrina one. I bought both of the launch colorways. I made a Nike by You colorway for my birthday. From a non-Nike perspective, I will say this. I'm really intrigued by the limited things I've seen about the Harden 8. But yeah, the AE one looks fantastic, as does the Trae Young 3. So, I mean, that might be sacrilegious to hear from certain people given my prior and current allegiances, but everybody's doing well. And I can't ask for much more than that as a basketball fan and more importantly as a sneaker fan.
Competition makes everybody better, so hopefully everybody steps their game up.
Yep.
Well, that was a beautiful way to put it. This diversity is king. Make sure you follow @Sneaker History on all major platforms. Thanks so much for spending this much time with us. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, stalk, whatever. Just follow.
Don't
Anyway.
stalking. Don't stalk.
You can find us on OnlyFans at the Punjabi Pounder.
Oh wow, that's a good one.
That might be the winner of all of them.
That is a good one.
That's the winner.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Everybody have a great day. Peace out.
See ya.
Hey everyone, this is Nick again. Before you take off, do us a solid and head over to Apple Podcasts to leave us a review. Give us a rating on Spotify and Amazon Music, and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we have even more video content coming soon. Speaking of new content, we have an amazing community of sneaker enthusiasts that hang out in our Sneaker History Discord on a daily basis. While sneakers is a connection point that brought us all together, we've all discovered countless shared passions that we have in common with each other. We recently launched a couple of new podcasts directly from our community. One of them is a Formula One podcast. If you're an F1 fan like me, the Exhaust Notes podcast is your weekly fix of Formula One fun. It's hosted by myself, Rohit Malhotra, and Todd Yates. New episodes drop every Tuesday. I've been wearing fitted hats for years and collecting my favorite teams since I was a little leaguer. It has been awesome to see so many new fans getting into fitteds in recent years. Crown and Stitch is our new talk show about fitted hats with Dexter, Keith, and myself, where we talk about fitted hats, snapbacks, throw in some obscure hats because we all kind of like some funky stuff once in a while, don't we? Copping, collecting, and so much more. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Hit the links in the show notes for this episode to give our new shows a listen, and be on the lookout for more new podcasts dropping soon. Last but not least, tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a simple compliment can take you, and we all know how good it feels to have someone show their appreciation. Thank you all for the support, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.